Achievement unlocked, 150 hours. That means it's time for an important service on my Craftsman riding mower. This is a 2020 Craftsman T210, but most of what I'm about to cover applies to many modern MTD riding mowers of this type. Craftsman, Cub Cadet, Troy-Bilt, you name it. Doesn't even have to be the same wheel size or the same deck size or even the same engine. A lot of this is similar, with one important caveat. It needs to be a hydrostatic transmission MTD. Unsure? Well, look at the right floorboard. If there's a rocker, a forward and back pedal, and you can look under the back here if there's a fan, which is one of the service items. Make sure this has all its blades and it's clean. Engine size or type, not that important. Mine has a Kohler 5400 series single cylinder. The newest version of my mower is called the T2200K. It has a twin cylinder engine. It's also very nice. One or two cylinders, different brand, it doesn't matter at 150 hours because engine oil, oil filter, and air filter are going to change, and every engine's going to have that. They just might be in different locations. So let's get going. 150 hours, what do I do? What am I going to need? Well, wait, disclaimer, this is what I do. Follow the manufacturer recommendations and service requirements of your machine and know your own serviceabilities or lack thereof. I'm just showing you what I do to keep my riding mower in tip-top shape and through this 150 hours worth of use. Tools and materials needed. I have a lift to access the blades in the underside of the deck. This is a Craftsman I purchased. It's made by Mojack. I love it. A lift not required for this service though. I could just take the deck off to get to the blades. This is a whole box of goodies I'll be needing. I'll link to all this stuff down in the description or tag it in this video. Official Kohler oil. This has a zinc additive. Makes it better for my Kohler engines. Better than standard motor oil. This engine requires 1.5 quarts, so always buy two. An official genuine Kohler oil filter. The Pro Performance model oil filter, faster than a Chevy Spark. More official parts, the fuel filter. Your mileage may vary, but for this 150-hour service, I've decided to not replace it. I replaced it at 100, so I'll save this. Now I'll have it when I need it. And the company that fulfilled this order included a paper funnel. It's going to make things easier on me today. And this part might be a surprise to anyone that knows me because I'm a genuine parts sort of guy, but for the air filter, I decided to try aftermarket. I was told these are exactly the same as the Kohler. We'll find out. And another weird switch up. I've been using USA-made Gator blades. I never looked back once I installed them. Well, I'm trying some different blades. These are a Gator-ish blade, but ooh, look at that. They're made in China, and they only cost 20 bucks. I'm experimenting for you guys, something I'm normally very cautious about, so buckle up. I need some tools like this Craftsman impact driver, up to 275 foot-pounds of torque. I use it a lot. Makes blade removal super easy. Craftsman mower, Craftsman impact driver, sockets, Pittsburgh. Grease for the spindle threads, Crystal brand, non-toxic. A battery tester, my Viking. I have videos on this. It helps me keep up with battery health as I monitor it in its 6th year of use. Vinyl tubing for the oil drain. People ask me what size. 1/2 inch inner, 5/8 outer. This was originally 10 feet long. This is all I have left. I need something to capture the drained oil. This time I'm going with a 1-gallon water jug. Grease. This isn't just an oil change, it's a full mid-level service. My decades-old grease gun's gonna get put to use. A ripped oil absorbent mat. I ripped this last time I was servicing my Vespa, and then I decided, this split design's gonna come in handy. I'm gonna use a microfiber, I'm gonna use some nitrile gloves, some more nitrile gloves, and one or two more, then some mechanics gloves, some shop towels, the paper type, and one of my better purchases over the past few years, a stool. The amazing foldable stool. It's truly amazing, or very handy at the least. After a 10-minute delay, I was able to find this pin. Safety first-ish. Well, there's wheel straps that are supposed to go here. I don't use them anymore. The wheel's cradled, and I'm not laying directly under it today. Before the lift goes up, I'm going to the back of the mower. I'm pulling this lever to disengage the hydrostatic transmission. I don't want those wheels dragging as the front comes up. This is a K46. They're mid-tier. Supposed to keep them clean, but they're very easy to break, I'm told. Mine's working fine, so well, I want to keep it working that way. This lift also works with the drill, but I use the arms God gave me. I'm just a little slower than if it were powered. I'm going to start out under the deck. I do so on purpose before I change the oil because I'm lifting it, and that could possibly let a little gas into the engine. I don't want new oil to have gas in it. This is what I'm working with down here, and the impact driver, of course. Step 1, inspection. This is the underside of my mower deck after 6 years, 7th season, into the 7th season of use. Each service I inspect closely, and I'm liking what I'm seeing. If you followed this mower's history, you'll know when I switched to Gator blades, I had to increase the wash port time to add an extra minute to get it clean because it was clumping a little. Ooh, what is that? I have no idea what that white spot is. It looks kind of alien, but other than that, just look. This is an extra minute, so 6 minutes instead of 5. No rust first and foremost, but also very clean deck. Using only the washport. All praise the washport. It's very simple. It just squirts water out in two directions towards the front and the back of the deck, and then the blades kick that water around and it cleans the underside. Look, there's no rust around the washport, no rust on the spindle that can't rust because it's not steel. It also has sealed bearings so water can't get inside. Alright, enough of that soapbox, let's get to work. A 15/16 socket and my impact driver to get the blades off. At one point I purchased the tool that you're supposed to use to get this and it was a pain in the butt. I went back and got an impact driver and I've never looked back. Critical inspection point, I'm looking at that star pattern to make sure there's no rounding. I'm looking at the threads on the spindle end. It's all used but good. Further inspection as a micro clean, you can see there's hardly any buildup. Now this is the underside of a mower deck. It's not a kitchen counter. Small traces around the spindles, but this is about how it was with the factory blades before I switched to Gator, so I'm impressed. It's never going to be spotless and a fleck or two is not going to hurt anything. It's layers and layers of built up grass that hold moisture. That causes rust, that's what's going to do damage. I wipe and inspect closely around the spindle area. These have the leggy spindles, as Chicanic calls them, so there's a critical area worthy of a few extra seconds of time just to make sure. Let's go to the other side. For the purposes of filming continuity, where I'm going to repeat the same process. Take the blades off, inspect. Now this nut, yeah, I did hit something there, and I know exactly what that was. A bit chewed up on top, but still completely usable. The leggy spindles and mounts on this side look good too, except for this alien goo. What is that? I suspect it's a nest of some kind. I mean, it's a little soft, but at the same time, it's over something compacted. The only thing I know for sure is this is how horror movies start, so I wanted to get this gone as fast as I could. This is the only spot on the deck where there's any kind of buildup, but fortunately, it hasn't been there long because there's not any rust under it. The plastic scraper made short work of it, and by the way, that's another tool that I've added. So if you know what that was, comment and let me know. And just like the other side, I work my way around mostly by hand, cleaning because there's just so little residue, and I end up with a very, very clean deck. Then I do some inspection for scrapes. These are the drag marks that you're always going to get on a mower. I don't see any rusting here, no penetrating damage. Ready for at least another 150 hours worth of use. Let's reblade it. The old blade's made in USA, and as I've mentioned, Gator Blade's my favorite, and this set was the one case where I actually used these for 2 seasons. This year, some definite signs of wear, but they're strong. They're still straight after some absolute torture that I put these through. Had some tornadoes come through, some trees got chopped up, and rather than pick up the little sticks, well, I mulched them all. Raise your hand, how many of you absolutely cringed when you heard that? Yeah, me too. Now here's something interesting. Look at the notches there. When I compare the opposite side blade, almost perfect alignment there at the end with the notching. Who would have thought? The other one a little different, but overall I think these have held up quite well. Now let's compare them to the China specials. Less than 20 bucks. First observation, that middle section is a lot like the OEM standard blades, the way that is cupped over. They're also thin like OEM standard blades, which are .125. These are between .12 and .13, so .125. Now they are consistent, so that's good. .125. So OEM residential blade thickness. Now let's compare that to the true Gator blades. These are .15. That's 150, which is commercial blade thickness. What's that mean? A more factory load on the spindles on the engine, but possibly less ability to take abuse. Time will tell. Little cleaning. I'm working on the nut here and paying special attention to the underside. I want that nice and clean for a flush mount. My crystal grease. I got laughed at once for using a quote bicycle grease on a riding mower, but you see how well these spindle threads look, and the only thing I've used on them is this crystal grease. I'm going to keep using it. Some blades are marked grass side down. These have no markings that I can see on either side, but fortunately I know from Gator blades, and these are Gator-ish, that those teeth go up. There's also the blade curve. See how that curves down? That's OEM style. That's for both strength and possibly maybe to protect the spindle. Critical part of getting blades mounted, whether you have the star pattern, the S pattern, whatever, make sure they're fully seated, because you could possibly get this offset and tighten a nut down against it and it feel tight but it not be properly installed. So I want it fully seated and I want full torque, but I set my impact here on setting 1 because I don't want to over torque. That is possible. This is 70 to 90 foot-pounds, but you could go over it. I mean, this thing will do up to 275. I'm going to repeat the exact same process on the other side. Grease the threads, properly seat the blade, and properly put on the nut. This is another thing. It is possible. I mean, these are tough threads, but it is possible to cross thread if you weren't paying attention. Make sure everything's seated, the nut is fully on, threaded properly. torque it down, and both blades are installed. The cheap Gator-ish blade experiment is underway. These are significantly less than Gator blades. I'm excited to see how they do. Next inspection point, top of the deck. I look at the belt, which I replaced not too long ago. The idler pulleys, they're wear items. One of mine a little rougher than the other. The chute side, I mentioned that in a previous video, but I haven't replaced it yet because it's holding in there. I'm hoping I can milk it to 200 when I will replace both. Here's a critical point to look at. These stamp decks from MTD, well, they are thin, and this particular area, that little lip, right there where the blade comes, something will catch in there, and it will rip that. It has the potential. You can see I've got a little dent, but mine is not ripped, and also, right along this little lip, it will build up grass there. That grass will slowly rust that. I diligently clean mine out after every mow, and so far it's looking good. So the deck, it's ready. Now we'll move to major service point number 2, and that's lubrication for the engine, which I need to warm up. And if it's cold, I start it, I fill this oil filter until it gets to the sweet spot, then I shut it down and it's ready to drain the oil. I found it's easier to complete all this with the hood removed, so I'll get that out of my way. It's lift and release aside from one connector, open access to my Kohler workhorse with its easy color-coded service points. Follow the yellow brick road. All the yellow points get attention, starting with the drain plug and the oil filter. Well, yellow dipstick, because I pull that up, that's going to help the oil flow freely. I'm using some cardboard below because as nice as the vertical oil filter is, it will dribble a bit, and you'll see when I take it off. This 1 gallon jug, I think it's going to work even better than the 1 liter bottles I usually use as far as a draining apparatus, and it's going to require less tubing. Black cap off, it's captive, so it won't get lost. The vinyl hose presses in its place. The other end's going to go down in our drain jug. Boy, talk about a good fit. I really am happy with how I judged that. This 1 gallon jug setup is a lot better than what I've used before. Now these quick release, they're very simple. They have a twist to unlock and a pull to open. Now I had to pull with both hands, but it pulls and it immediately starts flowing. It's going to drain the entire engine oil into this jug, which I like to time lapse, but I accidentally bumped the camera. Now I did lift the mower from the other side a couple of times to make sure I got all the oil. It doesn't take long, just a few minutes. And then it's a matter of reversing the process. At that quick release, this time we're going to press in and we're going to turn to the right. Closed and locked, I can remove the vinyl tube, and now this is a little neuroticism on my side. I like to clean inside that nipple so that when I put that cap back on, I don't have any oil that's going to seep out later and make me wonder where it came from. That torn oil mat, I know exactly where the oil filter removal is going to drip oil, and if there's an accident, where an oil mat would be needed. Another tool I'm going to bring out, I've used this before, the Motive Tools. I call this the claw. It'll bite into any filter, even a tough to remove one. This one I tried to remove by hand, and for whatever reason, this time it was super difficult. But the claw makes easy work of it. And then the balancing act, and when you look at that, I actually did it this time. Just a few drips, a personal best. Then a good cleaning. I want a clean mating surface area for the new gasket, and there's where it's going to go. Before I do that though, I'm going to look around a little bit, because I noticed in a post-mow inspection some time ago what looked like some oil here. Now this is a bucket style engine, so there's always the threat. But fortunately, I was able to clean all this away, and it was just brown dirt. No oil leaking. So my bucket's holding. Also part of the inspection checklist for this 150-hour service, making sure the fan's clean. I keep it that way. Installing the new filter, instructions say to fill it with oil and let that absorb for a couple of minutes before installing. Many people said that was unnecessary. It can go either way, and I'm going to show you this time. I'm not going to fill it. I'm just going to go ahead and oil the gasket, put it in place, tighten it down, wrench just a little further than I need to get that Kohler label in a sweet spot. 2 yellows taken care of. Let's get to the third, which is the air filter. There are 2 twist tabs to open it up. The air filter pulls right off, and if that looks clean, it's because I blow air into that area after every mow, but it still has some dirt on it. But inside, it is white, and this surprised me. The outer foam on a filter I put in at the last service has already started degrading. Is that the private equity already having effects on Kohler? It's something I'll keep an eye on. Now, cleaning this area is mostly pointless, but I just want a clean area and stick my hand down in there to make sure that no dust is getting inside. And I also feel less bad about buying an aftermarket filter, but I can tell you these are not identical. They still look okay, but the pleats are thinner, the cage around it thinner. Now, you're supposed to oil this outer foam. I have spray that does so, but I've yet to find the last place I put it. In the meantime, I'll show you how this goes back together. I've seen people complain about the cover on this specific engine, saying that those little yellow tabs won't stay in place. Well, that's because you have to loop in that little tab on the front, get that locked in, and then twist both the knobs closed. Final yellow on the engine, the dipstick. get some fresh oil in the works. A funnel not required, but it makes things far less messy. The engine oil capacity, I mentioned 1.5 quarts. I had 1 full quart from the new, and then I had some old that was left over. This is about half, so I'm going to just gauge it. I think about 1.3, so I'm going to try 0.3. We'll see where I end up. There's some residual always left in there, and boy, these funnels come in handy. I could use quite a few of these. Before I check the oil level, I need to crank the engine so I can prime that oil filter. Remember, I didn't pre-fill it with oil. Doesn't take long. It's a pressurized system, so it will refill within seconds, but I let it run for about 30 just to be safe. I'll let it sit while I complete my other service items before a final level check. In that time, I'll go to my other yellow item. Now this is a custom edition. These are grease fittings on both the front wheels, both inner and outer sides. I added yellow caps to these because I like continuity. It doesn't take a lot, just a couple of squeezes on the grease gun because these are supposed to be greased every 10 hours. I clean, I recap, and then I move to the other wheel. Order doesn't really matter. Usually I do the outside on one and then the inside and then flop to the other wheel. The inner zerk fittings actually metal, and this takes more grease because you're having to fill that entire chamber. Unfortunately, I ran out of grease here, so I'm having to grease after the fact, but just imagine that this is properly greased. It'll squirt out some at the bottom and at look. It made it to the top. The important thing, these need to be greased every 10 hours because those are plastic bushings right there. You don't want that to wear out. In the time that took, the engine oil settled enough for me to get an accurate gauge, and I got it dead on. I would like to say this was skill, but it was luck. Dipstick back in, all the yellow service items are complete. It's time to move on to, hey, wait a minute. What is that? Ooh, that was a close call. As I was saying, yellow done, more lubrication to do, but also some more inspections. I pay close attention to any potential signs of leaks or seepage, and also a chance to clean a little more, but while I'm cleaning, I'm looking for leaks. If anything is oozing out anywhere, especially here in the cylinder base or top, it will blow around there and out the front, and here. This is a prime leak spot, the valve cover. This one's looking good. Kohler's holding in there. And a follow-up inspection, these steering linkage ball ends. This one was cracked almost immediately. I'm talking about just this rubber seal here, the ball, the functional parts itself, all working fine, and it hasn't really worsened over time. I did try a couple of different lubricants and finally just gave up on lubricating it. I use air, just try to keep them clean, but I will be using some PTFE dry lube on a few other points, starting with the rocker arm for the forward and reverse control. I spray right at the point where it goes through the frame, right at that plastic clip, and then I work it back and forth. Below it, this clipping rod on the deck. That moves, dry lube it. On the back side of the deck, 2 more pivot points, 1 on each side, and this dry lube doesn't attract dirt like grease or oil would. It leaves a beneficial film, still I wipe down any excess. Just like with the forward and reverse pedal, the brake pedal, spray, work back and forth, and wipe. An often forgotten pivot point, even by me, this seat. There are 2 pivot points here, and I open and close this multiple times at any given mow. I also didn't show this earlier, but after lubrication, I work the deck up and down, and it's smoother than it sounds. One last point, this is the deck wheels. If your mower has them, not all do anymore. Spray inside, outside, or inside and outside, and then spin. Deck wheels can have an exceedingly long life when they're free spinning like this. Turn-tight steering gear, nothing. Do not use lubrication here. This has a coating. Grease just attracts debris. It's going to cause it to wear. These spinny things on the axle, spacers of some kind, they have little blade arms on them. Let's make sure they freely spin. Under the seat to check the battery. 6 years I've had this factory battery, and I thought it wasn't going to make it through this season, but the more I'm using it, the more it seems like it just might make it. Some people worry about these plastic hood hinges, saying they're a weak point. Well, I don't run into things, plus I have a bumper. I like them better than a hinge made into a frame that would bend. These are bolt-on, but they both look fine after 6 years. From hood hinges to the hood, it's time to get things covered back up because that's it. Slip the hood back into place, make the electrical connection for the lights, and this service is complete. 150 hours of success, my T210's ready for more. A few new variables have been introduced. New blades, the new aftermarket air filters, so stay tuned to see how all that works out. Subscribe so you don't miss anything. Comment with your thoughts and your service routine. Do you do it by the book? Do you have your own methods? Do you disagree with anything I did, or do you just not do anything at all? Let me hear it, and thanks for watching.